Hi, I'm Michelle, your nonprofit consultant. Thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to check in and do a video that talks about different things that a lot of nonprofits are focusing on and dealing with this July of 2025. So doing some check-ins here. I'm sure if you're an organization, maybe you've hit your end of your fiscal year or you're about to hit your end of fiscal year. Or some of you are in the middle of yours and you are reevaluating and assessing your funding practices. You are submitting grants, you're getting grant awards, you are meeting with funders. Maybe you have a couple events coming up. I know this time of year, some are just wrapping up their big summer or late spring events and they're moving into their big fall events. So it's a really big deal because you need to line up your sponsors, which if you're smart, you always lined up your sponsors usually 6 months to a year in advance. And the good thing is if you have a returning event that's been around a really long time, usually you try to keep your sponsors and you just try to bring on new ones to grow. So coming in as the nonprofit consultant for many different size organizations, focused mainly right now on grassroots organizations and mid-sized level organizations that have many employees. Right now what I'm seeing is I'm seeing grants being awarded, grants that were submitted in January of this year, and they're now being awarded. Some are in the middle of the processes of grant site visits. I have one client that I'm attending their grant site visit later this month. It's something I do for my clients, especially if they've never experienced a grant site visit. I try to take all of the nervous butterflies away and try to make it a great experience because it's something you should be excited about and realize that we've done the hard love of labor with the proposal. We've submitted the LOIs, which is a letter of intent, and getting that accepted, moving on to the full grant proposal, and then having them look and seeing that we made sure that everything was done. We spent countless weeks, maybe months on that proposal. And working as a team collectively, it is like a team celebration. So to even get this far, you have to pat yourself on the back and say, you made it here. So definitely now keep rocking it, keep that momentum going. And right now I've let them know who's going to be attending from that grantee foundation that's looking at them, making sure that everybody has copies of the proposal that was submitted. And a place to sit down and discuss it. Sometimes the grantees decide where they want to go before and after and how long that they're going to give to that site visit. Been on site visits that have lasted all afternoon, sometimes a full day, and this one is just going to be a shorter one, 2 hours. But it's a great one. It's a great opportunity because one of the programs is happening on site and they'll be able to see it and feel the words come off the paper into an impact, and that's what's really about. I have other clients right now where we're focusing on trying to get more traffic, more donors, and more grantees. So we're bringing in new, but it's really important that when you have corporations that have grant opportunities and they want to be a part of your programs, it's important to build that relationship up to continue with those opportunities that they're providing, because a lot of times those corporations don't always just have an open book. You go to the website, boom, you can apply. Some you have to get invited for, some of the bigger ones. So it's important that if you've opened the door, you've proceeded, they are all about it, they're like a cheerleader already and they haven't even put boots on the ground for the program, that you stay connected, you treat them like with enthusiasm, excitement, and that you are opening the door to invite them in like they're a family member. I really try to share that with my clients on how to connect and how to be personable, but not too personable with your grantees, your potential funders. I really am about the relationships. I think it's so valuable and the longevity of it goes a long way. So I have a really big, large client that has a lot of employees. It's a mid-sized client, and they are large. They have chapters all over the United States. And so I try to team up and tag team with the national brand as well as the chapter and as well as other chapters. And then I've kind of got myself in even more with the other ones. And while they've been great on their own and they're not hurting with funding, meaning they're ahead of the game, they're not trying to get grant money for right now, they're trying to get grant money for next year and 5 years from now, right? Well, it's important that while you might have had these donors and all of it's been built on donations and just wonderful donor from great corporation businesses and foundations, and if you're lucky enough to be a organization that's built with other chapters, a lot of times you can partner with them and you get funding, and that's just a tidbit right there. And so you've got to be really mindful strategically how you go about this. So for instance, when I look for grant opportunities, sometimes we are not eligible, but the national brand is. I will get with the national brand person, the president, and say, hey, look, I found this opportunity. And they're like, oh, that's amazing. That's what you want, is to work together, because it all circles back and it benefits the overall mission. It benefits everybody that's being served. And when you have multiple chapters, you can find a way to partner in those other areas to get more funding, which if you have events or you have programs, you get sponsorships, right? Because a lot of those grantees sponsorships, they want to see how it's benefiting their community. So I have clients that serve multiple states in the East Coast. They're based where I am, and then they serve multiple states in Mid-Atlantic and in the Midwest. And at the end of the day, it's important to know where those programs are being located, because when you do some digging and you do some research, you'll find that, oh, you have an opportunity there, and you want to seize that. You want to seize the opportunity because you are serving that community and their citizens and schools or memorials or buildings, community buildings, whatever it is. And you want to take the opportunity to get to know the people that you are serving, even if your home base is somewhere else. That's how you grow. That's how you grow more funding, and you can have more opportunity to bring in more staff. You can serve more people in your mission, and ultimately have these big capital campaigns that really are a game changer. So I have the opportunity of working with teams, working with presidents, executive directors, which sometimes we use the term ED. I also work with the director of development, if they're in that role. And I actually used to be in that role for an organization. So I'm very familiar with what they do. And I try to be respectful. I try to know the boundary line there, and that I'm the consultant. While I am have great value in what I do, they're on their team, and I'm trying to be the neutral party for all, given the best advice I can strategically, and line them with the right people, the right opportunity, and what's the best interest of the mission. For instance, I attended a networking event last night, and it was not near me. It was a really awesome, smaller event with about 50 people, but a great size to actually be intimate enough to talk to people enough to know what they do, what they own, who they work for, what their position is, and how their alignment is with what I do. And while I was in the room with 50 people, I did meet all 50 people, but I knew a few people from years ago when I represented some other previous clients, and then some I still represent. And it's amazing to see their growth and mine, and then also that they're jumping in, hey, what do you need? And then I had some that I knew through other things that I've done through my profession, and they wanted some feedback from me. And then I had others that were new that said, hey, this would greatly in line with what I'm doing. I want to be there. I want to sponsor. Even though I don't do the sponsors most of the time anymore, I do jump in for my clients and say, hey, I found some great alignment. I think this would be a strategic move on your end. I definitely want you to go here. So I always try to give the best advice to my clients, especially if I see like maybe they're not engaging enough. A lot of times they're stretched. I mean, usually I come in because the president or the founder, the executive director is doing everything. And then they find out when they start hiring people like me, and they start hiring a director of development, and they have a program person, that, oh, I can back off a little bit. They got this. We just need to delegate and work together. And this time of year is pretty great because you can see the fruits of your labor, but then on the end, you know, oh my gosh, we got all these things coming up. And so that's kind of where I am right now. While my desk is not that messy right now, usually during the week it is. I have files going. I go through these yellow tablets all the time. I take notes for all my clients. I have storyboards that I constantly have up for my clients, constantly doing measurable data, getting documentation. Like I have one client right now. I've only been with them for a few months. They brought me on through a referral from another client, and their paperwork is challenging. And my mission is to get all of their paperwork in order so we can actually submit some of these grants. So, you know, it is one of those things that you have to make sure that you are grant ready. You are ready always for potential prospects that have funding opportunities, whether it is a donor at a networking event or whether it is a grantee that you think would be greatly aligned with your organization. This time of year is one of those times, you know, is a great time to do a checkpoint with your organization. You want to be have transparency, and you want to be ready, grant ready, funding ready. You want to evaluate things. So these are just some grant insights, some nonprofit insights with me. Thank you for tuning in. Definitely look up my channel. It's Michelle Rollins Grants, and I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn. So you're always welcome to reach out and find me. You get to find some great impact stories, grant insights, and sometimes I even post some spotlights of my clients. So take care, enjoy your July. See you back soon.